Alex left on Monday morning, his suitcase packed for the week-long trip. Victoria had arrived the night before, immediately taking to Isabella with her characteristic warmth. "Don't worry," Victoria had whispered to Isabella while Alex was loading his car. "I'll keep you company, and I have so many stories about Alex that he'd kill me for telling." Isabella laughed, but as Alex's car pulled away, sadness filled her face. She watched from the window until the vehicle disappeared from view. Victoria noticed it immediately. She smiled knowingly but said nothing. Over the next week, Victoria and Isabella bonded like sisters. They cooked together, watched movies, went shopping, and stayed up late talking about everything and nothing. One evening, while making popcorn for their movie marathon, Victoria started sharing stories about Alex. "Oh my God, you have to hear about the time Alex was 13, Victoria said, giggling. "He had this massive crush on our neighbor, Sarah Chen, no relation. He practiced asking her to the school dance in the mirror for weeks. I caught him doing poses and everything." Isabella laughed. "No way! Alex?" "Yes, and when he finally worked up the courage to ask her, he tripped over absolutely nothing, fell flat on his face, and his voice cracked when he said dance. She thought he was asking if she wanted to prance like a horse." "Stop!" Isabella was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. "It gets better. He was so mortified that he hid in his room for 3 days. Mom had to slide food under his door like he was a prisoner." "That's adorable and horrible at the same time." "That's Alex. All confidence and control now, but he was the most awkward teenager you've ever seen. Braces, terrible haircuts, growth spurts that made him clumsy. Marcus used to tease him mercilessly about it." At the mention of Marcus, both women went quiet for a moment. "Marcus sounds like he was wonderful," Victoria said softly. "Alex talks about him sometimes. I can tell how much he loved him." They were like brothers. Marcus used to say Alex was the smart one and he was the brave one, but they both knew it wasn't true. They were both smart and brave. Isabella's smile was bittersweet. "I was so young when they were together all the time, but I remember how much they laughed, how Marcus would always come home with stories about their adventures. Alex needs that again. The laughing, I mean. He's been so serious for so long." Victoria studied Isabella carefully. "You make him laugh, you know. I've noticed." Isabella felt her cheeks warm. "We just get along well." Is that what we're calling it?" "Isabella, I'm just saying I've never seen my brother act the way he acts around you, and I've definitely never seen him move someone into his apartment. Alex values his space more than anything." Victoria's smile was gentle. "But he gave you the best guest room and seems genuinely happy you're here." Isabella didn't know what to say to that. Her feelings for Alex had been growing steadily, but she'd tried to ignore them. He was Marcus's best friend. He was her guardian, in a way. She shouldn't think of him as anything more. "I see how you look at him, too," Victoria added quietly. "And before you panic, I think it's beautiful. Marcus would approve, you know. He'd want both his favorite people to be happy." "How can you know that?" "Because love isn't finite. Marcus loving you didn't mean he loved Alex less, and if Alex loves you, it doesn't diminish what he felt for your brother. It honors it. You both understand loss. You both carry Marcus with you. That's not a barrier, it's a bridge." Isabella felt tears prick her eyes. "I do love him. I didn't mean to, but I do." Victoria pulled her into a hug. "Then tell him when he gets back." "I can't. What if it ruins everything? What if he doesn't feel the same? I'd lose my home, my job, my family." "You won't lose anything, but you might gain everything." Victoria pulled back, her expression serious. "My brother is an idiot about his own feelings. He'll probably need you to be brave first. Can you do that?" Isabella thought about it for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Maybe. I'll think about it." Meanwhile, across the country, Alex was miserable. The business trip was going fine. Meetings were productive, the branch office was running smoothly, and he'd resolved 3 major issues in 4 days. But none of it felt satisfying. His mind was constantly elsewhere. On Isabella. He missed her laugh. Her terrible jokes, the way she'd scrunch her nose when she was concentrating on a difficult problem, the comfortable silences they'd share over morning coffee. This is ridiculous, he thought, staring at his hotel room ceiling on Thursday night. You've been away from home for business dozens of times. Why is this different? But he knew why. Isabella had become home. Not the apartment. Her. His phone rang. Victoria calling for their nightly check-in. "How's everything?" he asked. "Great. Isabella and I went to that new Italian place downtown. She loved it. We're becoming best friends." "Good. That's good." "You sound miserable, big brother." "I'm fine." "You're a terrible liar. You miss her." Alex was silent. "It's okay to admit it, you know, that you have feelings for her." "Vic! I see it, Alex. I've been watching you two all week before you left, and spending time with Isabella has only confirmed it. You're both completely in love with each other and too scared to admit it." "Even if that were true, and I'm not saying it is, I can't act on it. She's Marcus's sister." "And? Marcus is gone, Alex. He'd want you both to be happy." "I don't know that." "Yes, I do, because I know what love is. Real love wants happiness for the people it cares about even beyond death, especially beyond death." Victoria paused. "Isabella told me she loves you." Alex's heart stopped. "What?" "She told me she's in love with you. Has been for a while now. She's just terrified to say anything because she doesn't want to lose you." She said that?" "Yes, and now I'm telling you so you can stop being an idiot and actually do something about it when you get home." Alex couldn't speak. His mind was reeling. "Come home, Alex. Come home and tell her the truth. That's all I'm going to say." Alex hung up. Alex sat in the darkness of his hotel room, his phone still in his hand, his heart racing. Isabella loved him. She loved him. The realization flooded through him like sunlight, warm and terrifying and wonderful all at once. He looked at his schedule. He was supposed to stay until Saturday evening, but suddenly that seemed impossibly far away. He called his assistant. "Margaret, I need you to reschedule everything for tomorrow. I'm coming home early." "Is everything all right, sir?" "Everything is perfect. I just need to get home." Alex arrived home Friday afternoon, a full day earlier than expected. He'd worked through the night to finish his remaining obligations so he could catch the first flight out. Victoria opened the door, a knowing smile on her face. That was fast. "Where is she?" "Office. She went in for a half-day to catch up on some work." Alex checked his watch. 3 o'clock. She'd be home soon. "I'll get out of your way," Victoria said, grabbing her bag. "I have a friend I can stay with tonight. You two need to talk." "Vic, thank you." She hugged him tight. "Go get your girl, big brother." When Isabella came home at 6, she found Alex in the kitchen, attempting to cook dinner. "Alex," she dropped her bag in surprise. "You're home early. I thought you weren't back until tomorrow." "Finished up ahead of schedule." He turned from the stove, and the sight of her, slightly windblown from the commute, her face lit up with genuine happiness at seeing him, made his heart ache. "I wanted to surprise you." "Well, mission accomplished." She came closer, peering at the stove. "Are you actually cooking? Like, really cooking?" "Don't sound so shocked. You taught me, remember?" "I taught you how to dice vegetables. This looks like actual food. It's supposed to be chicken marsala. I called Margaret, and she walked me through it." Isabella laughed, that beautiful sound he'd missed so much. "Your assistant helped you cook? She's surprisingly knowledgeable about Italian cuisine. Who knew?" They worked side by side to finish the meal, falling back into their comfortable rhythm as if he'd never left. But something felt different now. The air between them seemed charged with unspoken words. At dinner, Isabella told him about her week with Victoria. "Your sister is amazing. She told me so many stories about you as a kid." "Oh no, what did she tell you?" "Everything. The dance incident, the time you got your head stuck in the stair railing, that terrible poetry phase in 9th grade. I'm going to kill her. Please don't. I love her."
She's like the sister I never had." Isabella's smile was soft. "I know she flew out to keep me company, but I think I needed that. Having family around. It reminded me that I'm not alone anymore." "You're not alone," Alex said quietly. "You'll never be alone again. I promise." Their eyes met across the table, and something passed between them, a recognition, an acknowledgement of feelings neither was quite ready to voice. After dinner, they settled into their usual spots in the living room. Isabella put on one of her romantic dramas, and for the first time, Alex didn't even pretend to be doing something else. He watched with her, completely engaged. When the couple on screen finally confessed their feelings after an hour of near misses and misunderstandings, Alex found himself frustrated with them. "Just tell her already," he muttered at the screen. "Laughing, getting invested, are we? They're being ridiculous. They clearly love each other. All this dancing around it is just wasting time." "Sometimes people are afraid," Isabella said softly. "Afraid of ruining what they have. Afraid of not being loved back. Afraid of losing everything if they're wrong." Alex looked at her, really looked at her. What if they're not wrong? Then they're just being cowards, and life's too short for that. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Alex opened his mouth to say something, what he wasn't sure, when his phone rang. He glanced at it and sighed. "It's the Seattle office. I should take this." "Of course." He stepped into his office, and the moment was lost.
Back at work, Isabella continued to excel. Her sharp eye for detail had caught several major errors in the past month, saving the company significant money. David Park had nothing but praise for her work. But there was a complication. James Foster from the legal department had developed an obvious crush on her. He found reasons to visit the accounting floor multiple times a day, always with coffee or some excuse to talk to Isabella. "He's sweet," Isabella told Sophie during lunch, "but I'm not interested." "Why not? He's handsome, successful, and clearly smitten with you." "Because Isabella trailed off. She couldn't exactly explain that her heart belonged to her roommate, her boss, her dead brother's best friend. "I'm just not interested. I'm focused on work right now." But James was persistent. He asked her to lunch repeatedly, always politely, always hopefully. Isabella turned him down each time, trying to be kind but firm. Unfortunately, Alex noticed. He told himself it was none of his business. Isabella was free to date whomever she wanted. James was a good guy, Harvard-educated, came from a good family, had a promising career. But every time Alex saw them talking, something hot and uncomfortable twisted in his gut. One afternoon, Alex found himself walking past the accounting department for the third time that day. Margaret had definitely noticed. "Sir, the 15th floor is not on the way to anywhere you need to be," she said dryly. "I was just checking on Miss Rivera. Yes, I know. The way you've been doing hourly for the past week." Alex had the grace to look embarrassed. "Is it that obvious?" "To everyone except possibly Miss Rivera herself." Margaret's expression softened. "Sir, may I speak candidly? Have I ever been able to stop you? In the 8 years I've worked for you, I've never seen you like this. You're distracted, unfocused, and you've rescheduled 4 meetings this week because they conflicted with Miss Rivera's lunch hour. I wanted to make sure she was settling in. You're in love with her." Alex froze. Margaret continued gently, "And unless I'm very much mistaken, she feels the same way about you. So the question is, what are you going to do about it?" "Nothing. I can't. She's Marcus's sister." "With all due respect, sir, Marcus is gone, and I hardly think he'd want 2 people he loved to be miserable because they're too afraid to acknowledge their feelings." "You didn't know Marcus." "No, but I know you, and I know that you've been carrying guilt about his death for 7 years. But sir, at some point you have to forgive yourself. You have to let yourself live. Let yourself be happy." Margaret's voice was gentle but firm. "Miss Rivera is a wonderful young woman. She's talented, kind, and she clearly cares deeply about you. Don't let fear rob you both of something beautiful." Alex couldn't respond. His throat was too tight.
That evening, Alex couldn't help himself. As they drove home, he brought up James Foster. "So I hear you have an admirer at the office?" Isabella looked up, surprised. "What? Who told you that?" "Margaret hears everything. James Foster from legal?" "Oh, him!" Isabella waved a dismissive hand. He's nice enough, but I'm not interested. I'm focused on work right now. He's a good guy, smart, successful, comes from a good family. Isabella stared at him incredulously. Are you seriously trying to set me up with your employee? I'm just saying, you shouldn't close yourself off to possibilities. Wow, okay. Isabella crossed her arms. What brought this on? The fact that I'm in love with you and need you to date someone else so I can get over these impossible feelings. Nothing. I just want you to be happy. I am happy, and I'll date when I'm ready, thanks. She turned to look out the window. Unless... Wait, do you not want me living with you anymore? Is that what this is about? You're trying to set me up so I'll move out? What? No. Isabella, that's not... Because if you want me to leave, just say so. I can find my own place. I don't want you to leave. The words came out more vehemently than he'd intended. Several nearby pedestrians turned to look at them through the car window. Alex lowered his voice. This is your home now. I just thought... Never mind. Forget I said anything. Isabella studied him for a long moment. You're being weird again. I'm not being weird. You absolutely are. What's going on with you? Nothing. I'm tired. Long day. Alex stared straight ahead. Can we just drop it? The rest of the ride home was silent, tension thick in the air. You phoned me. I would have come immediately. You were in a meeting. I didn't want to bother you. You're never a bother. Don't ever think that. The intensity in his voice made Isabella look up, meeting his eyes. Something passed between them, concern, care, and something deeper, unspoken. When they got home, Isabella was shaking badly. Alex led her straight to the living room fireplace and got a fire going. Stay here. I'm getting you blankets. He returned with an armful of thick blankets and wrapped her in them like a cocoon. Then he sat beside her, close enough that she could feel his warmth. Better? He asked. Yes, thank you. Isabella's voice was small. I'm sorry you had to come get me. Stop apologizing. I wanted to. Alex brushed a strand of wet hair from her face. You scared me, Isabella. When I heard you were alone in that building during a storm, I couldn't think straight until I saw you were okay. Why? The question hung in the air. Alex knew what she was asking. Why did it matter so much? Why did he drop everything to come get her? Why did the thought of her being uncomfortable or scared make his chest tight with panic? Because you matter to me, he said quietly. More than you know. Isabella's eyes were bright with unshed tears. You matter to me too. They sat there by the fire, close enough to touch, but not quite touching, both afraid to push further, both terrified of what might happen if they did. After a while, Isabella's shivering stopped. The warmth of the fire and the blankets had done their work. You should change into dry clothes, Alex said reluctantly. You'll catch a cold. You too, you're soaked. I will, in a minute. But neither of them moved. They just sat there, watching the fire, existing in this moment that felt suspended outside of time. Finally, Isabella stood, still wrapped in her blanket cocoon. Thank you, Alex, for coming to get me, for always taking care of me. Always, he promised, for as long as you'll let me. She smiled, soft and warm, and headed to her room. Alex sat by the fire, alone.
A few days later, Victoria called Alex again. You need to invite Isabella to grandmother's for Christmas. Vic, I'm serious. She doesn't have family, Alex. Where else is she going to go? She should be with us. Alex hesitated. Taking Isabella to his family's Christmas gathering felt significant, like announcing something he wasn't ready to announce. But Victoria was right. Isabella had no one else. That evening, he approached Isabella nervously. So, my family has this Christmas tradition. We all go to my grandmother's estate for a few days, and I was wondering, would you like to come with me? Isabella's eyes widened. Really? Only if you want to, no pressure. I know meeting the whole family can be overwhelming. I'd love to, Isabella said softly. Thank you for inviting me. Great, good. It's settled then. Alex felt inexplicably happy and nervous at the same time.
They arrived at his grandmother's estate 2 days before Christmas. The sprawling manor was already decorated beautifully, and family members were arriving throughout the day. In the car, before they went inside, Alex held Isabella's hand briefly. "Don't be afraid. They're more friendly than me, and they're all waiting to meet you, too." Isabella smiled, though she looked nervous. "Okay." He opened her car door, a gentlemanly gesture that made her heart flutter, and they walked in together. Victoria was already there, and immediately pulled Isabella into a hug. "You made it!" Alex's grandmother approached, studying Isabella with sharp, intelligent eyes before breaking into a warm smile. "So this is Isabella. Welcome, dear. Alexander has told us about you." "It's wonderful to meet you, Mrs. Chen." "Call me grandmother. Everyone does." The family welcomed Isabella warmly. Over dinner, they asked about her work, her interests, clearly trying to make her feel included. Later that evening, grandmother assigned rooms. "Alexander, show Isabella to the blue guest room. It's right next to yours." That night, lying in the unfamiliar bed, Isabella couldn't sleep. She got up and wandered to the kitchen for water. She found Alex already there, also unable to sleep. "Hey," he said softly. "Can't sleep either?" "Too many new faces. But your family is wonderful." "They love you already, I can tell." They stood in the kitchen, the house quiet around them, and for a moment everything felt charged with possibility. "Alex, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you have any exes? Anyone important?" Alex was quiet for a moment. "There was someone, Vanessa. We dated for 3 years, broke up 2 years ago. She's been trying to call recently, but I'm not interested in reconnecting. What about you?" "I dated a little in college, nothing serious. After Mom died, I was too busy surviving to think about relationships. I never had time for love before." "Before?" Alex's heart skipped. Before I had a real home again." They stood there, both wanting to say more, neither brave enough to.
Christmas Eve was filled with family traditions. After dinner, Victoria announced they'd be playing games. First up, charades. Somehow, Victoria's random team assignments kept pairing Alex and Isabella together. They had to act out clues, work as partners, communicate without words. "Your sister is being very obvious," Isabella whispered to Alex during one round. "I know. I'm sorry." "I don't mind," Isabella said, and their eyes met for a long moment before the next round started. "Next game," Victoria announced, "we're going to dance. Everyone grab a partner." Before Alex could react, Victoria had pushed Isabella toward him. "You two dance together." Music started playing, a slow, romantic song. Alex hesitantly placed his hands on Isabella's waist, and she rested her hands on his shoulders. Both were acutely aware of their family watching. They swayed together, neither speaking, both feeling the electricity between them, but too shy to acknowledge it. "Your business call?" Alex suddenly said, pulling away. It was clearly an excuse, and Isabella's face fell slightly before she smiled understandingly. That night, they shared the corridor on the second floor. Isabella was getting ready for bed when Alex knocked on her door. "Hey," he said, "I'm sorry I ran away earlier. The dancing, everyone watching? It's okay, I understand." They stood in the doorway, neither wanting to say goodnight. "Your family is wonderful. Thank you for bringing me. I'm glad you're here. It feels right having you here." Another charged moment passed between them, both leaning slightly forward, the possibility of a kiss hanging in the air. Then a door opened down the hall, and they jumped apart. "Good night," they said in unison, both blushing, both retreating to their respective rooms. Christmas morning, Alex suggested they visit Marcus's grave before the family festivities began. "He's buried here, in the family plot. I'd like to take you if you want." "I'd like that." They placed flowers together on Marcus's grave, standing in comfortable silence. "I miss him every day," Isabella whispered. "Me too." After Christmas, they returned home. The transition back to normal life felt strange after the intensity of the holiday. At work, Isabella noticed Alex's ex, Vanessa, visiting the office.
She watched them talk through the glass walls of his office, jealousy burning in her chest, though she had no right to feel it. That evening, she was quieter than usual. "Everything okay?" Alex asked. "Fine. Isabella, I saw your ex at the office today." "And?" "And nothing. It's none of my business." But her tone said otherwise. Alex wanted to tell her it meant nothing, that Vanessa meant nothing, that Isabella was the only woman he thought about. But he stayed silent, afraid of saying too much. The tension between them was growing unbearable. A week later, Alex received devastating news. The board wanted him to transfer to the Seattle branch for an extended period, potentially permanent. "They're not asking, Alex," his VP told him. "They're telling. The Seattle branch is in crisis, and they need you there." That evening, Alex told Isabella about the transfer. "How long?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Indefinitely. Could be months. Could be longer." "Oh, come with me," Alex said suddenly. "Transfer to the Seattle branch. We can—" "I can't, Alex. I just started here. David has been mentoring me. I have projects I'm committed to." "Right, of course." Alex felt his world crumbling. "I understand. When do you leave?" "End of the week." Isabella nodded, tears threatening. "Okay." That night, she stayed in her room, crying quietly. She couldn't tell him not to go. It was his company, his responsibility. But the thought of him leaving, possibly forever, was unbearable.
The next morning, Victoria arrived early. She took one look at both of them, Alex exhausted and miserable, Isabella with eyes swollen from crying, and her heart broke. "Let's get this over with," she said quietly. The drive to the airport was silent. Isabella stared out the window, arms wrapped around herself. Alex kept glancing at her, wanting to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. At the airport, they stood awkwardly near security. "Take care of yourself," Isabella said, not quite meeting his eyes. "You too." Alex wanted to pull her into his arms, to tell her everything he'd been too afraid to say. "And listen to Vic. She gives good advice." "I will. I'll call. Every day." "Okay." They stood there, neither knowing how to say goodbye. Finally, Alex picked up his carry-on bag. "I should go. I'll miss my flight." Isabella just nodded, tears threatening to fall. Alex forced himself to walk towards security. He looked back once, saw Isabella standing there with Victoria's arm around her shoulders, and almost turned back. But he kept walking. Through security, to the gate, sitting down with his boarding pass. The gate agent made an announcement. "We'll begin boarding shortly. Please have your boarding passes and identification ready." Alex pulled out his passport, hands trembling slightly. As he opened it, a small, folded piece of paper fell onto his lap. Frowning, he picked it up. He didn't remember putting anything in his passport. With shaking hands, he unfolded it. "Dear Alex, I don't know if I'll ever have the courage to tell you this in person, so I'm writing it down. Maybe you'll find this before you leave. Maybe you won't. Maybe it doesn't matter. I'm in love with you. I don't know when it happened. Maybe it was the first time you made me laugh after years of barely smiling. Maybe it was watching you visit Marcus's grave every year, keeping your promise. Maybe it was the storm, when you came to get me without hesitation. Or maybe it was all of it, 1,000 small moments that added up to this overwhelming feeling I can't contain anymore. I know I shouldn't feel this way. You're Marcus's best friend. You promised to take care of me, not fall in love with me. And I'm sure you don't see me that way. How could you? I'm just his little sister, the responsibility, the promise you had to keep. But I love you anyway. The way you think, the way you laugh, the way you pretend not to cry during romantic movies, the way you make me feel safe and valued and seen for the first time in years. I will always love you, now and forever. Even if you never love me back, even if you're reading this on a plane to Seattle, starting a new life without me. I'm sorry if this changes things. I understand if you need me to move out when you get back. I just needed you to know the truth, even if I was too afraid to say it to your face.
Come home to me. Yours always, Isabella. Alex read the letter once, twice, 3 times. His vision blurred with tears. His hands shook so badly the paper trembled. His chest felt like it was being crushed. I will always love you, now and forever. Come home to me. Around him, passengers were gathering, preparing to board. Someone bumped into him, apologizing. The world continued moving while Alex frozen, holding Isabella's confession in his trembling hands. Final boarding call for Flight 847 to Seattle. All remaining passengers, please board now. Alex looked at the letter, at the gate, at his boarding pass in his hand. Seattle was waiting. The company needed him. The board expected him, his career, his obligations, his responsibilities, all of it pulling him toward that plane. But Isabella loved him. She had written her heart on paper and slipped it into his passport, terrified and brave, confessing feelings she thought were one-sided. And he was about to get on a plane and leave her, thinking he didn't love her back. "Sir?" A flight attendant approached. "Are you boarding? We are closing the doors." Alex stared at her, then at the letter, then at the gate. Everything suddenly became crystal clear. "No." "Excuse me? I'm not boarding." Alex was already standing, shoving the letter into his jacket pocket. "I'm not getting on that plane." "Sir, this is the final." "I don't care." Alex was moving now, running back toward the exit, his heart pounding. "I'm not going." Behind him, confused voices called out, "Sir, your luggage. Sir, you can't just leave." He didn't care about any of it. His passport slipped from his hands and clattered to the floor. He left it there and kept running. Out of the gate area, through security, causing a scene as he tried to get back through, finally bursting into the main terminal, pulling out his phone with shaking hands. He dialed the first cab company he could find. "I need a cab now. I'll pay triple." "Where are you going, buddy?" Alex gave his home address. "And I'll pay you 5 times the fare if you can get there in under 20 minutes. Meanwhile, back at the penthouse, Isabella sat on her bed, knees pulled to her chest, tears streaming down her face. "Hey," Victoria said softly from the doorway. "Want some ice cream? Wine? Both?" Isabella shook her head. "I'm fine." "You're clearly not fine. You're crying." Isabella wiped at her face angrily. "I wrote him a note. A stupid, impulsive note saying I loved him. I hid it in his passport." Victoria's eyes widened. "You did what?" "I know, I'm an idiot. He's going to read it on the plane and... God, Vic, what did I do? He's going to think I'm pathetic. He's going to come back and tell me it's time for me to move out. I've ruined everything." "Or," Victoria said slowly, sitting on the bed next to her, "he's going to read it and realize what an idiot he's been." "What?" "Isabella, my brother is completely in love with you. Has been for months. He just can't let himself believe he deserves you because of some misguided guilt about Marcus." Isabella's heart stuttered. What? Oh my God, you really didn't know? The way he looks at you? The way he smiles when you walk in a room? The way he was ready to commit murder when that foster guy asked you out? I thought he was just being protective, like a brother. No one looks at their sister the way Alex looks at you. Trust me, I would know. That's not brotherly affection. That's, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, love. Isabella pressed her hands to her face. But he never said anything. He pushed me toward James. He talks about me building my own life. Because he's scared. Because he thinks he doesn't deserve you. Because... Victoria stopped, head tilting. Do you hear that? They both went quiet. There was a sound coming from the front door. Keys? The lock turning? Did Alex forget something? Isabella whispered. The door burst open. Isabella! It was Alex's voice, desperate and breathless. They heard him running through the apartment. Isabella, where are you? In here, Victoria called, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Alex appeared in the doorway, disheveled and panting. His tie was askew, his jacket hanging off one shoulder, hair wild like he'd been running his hands through it. He still had his carry-on bag. He gasped. You didn't... Airplane. Did you run here from the airport? Victoria asked, amazed. Cab, fast as I could find. Paid him double. Alex was staring at Isabella with such intensity she couldn't breathe. "Your letter." Isabella's face flamed. "I didn't mean you weren't supposed to. You love me. It wasn't a question." Isabella's heart hammered. "Alex, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have." "You love me," he repeated, stepping into the room. "You said you'll always love me, now and forever. I'll move out. I know this makes things uncomfortable. Isabella." Alex crossed the room in 3 strides, dropping to his knees in front of her. His hands found hers, gripping tight. "You love me." "Yes," Isabella whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm sorry. I know you don't feel. I love you too." Time stopped.
Isabella stared at him, certain she'd misheard. "What?" "I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been for months. I just didn't let myself admit it because I thought I didn't deserve you, because I thought Marcus would hate me for it, because I was scared." "You love me?" Isabella's voice broke on the words. "So much it terrifies me. Isabella, you're the first thing I think about when I wake up, and the last thing I think about before I sleep. You make me laugh. You make me want to be better. You've taken this empty apartment and turned it into a home. You've taken my empty life and filled it with meaning again. Alex, I don't care about Seattle. I don't care about the $15 million contract. The company can wait. Let it all wait." Alex brought her hands to his lips, kissing her knuckles. "I'm not leaving. Not now, not ever. Not unless you tell me to." "Don't ever leave me, Alex," Isabella sobbed. "Please don't ever leave me." "I won't, I swear to you. For the rest of my life, I'm not going anywhere." And then Isabella was in his arms, and Alex was holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world, and they were both crying and laughing at the same time. "Oh, thank God," Victoria said from somewhere behind them. "I thought I was going to have to lock you two in a room together." Isabella pulled back just enough to see Alex's face. His eyes were red, tears streaming down his cheeks, but he was smiling, truly smiling, in a way she'd never seen before. "I love you," he said again, like he couldn't say it enough. "Isabella Rivera, I am completely, impossibly, hopelessly in love with you." "I love you too," she whispered. She hugged him for minutes, his shirt covered in tears. Then he kissed her.